Hello and welcome to the 155th installment of the Synapse Misfire Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, joined by our other host, Jordan.
That's me, baby. You could say this is the penultimate episode.
Something like that.
We're quitting.
Yeah, we're done.
We're not done. You'll see what's happening.
Well, you know, we got some plans. We have some plans that we cannot talk about right now because the haters will sabotage us.
We cannot talk about them.
We have some plans that we cannot share with you right now because the haters will sabotage me. But trust us, we got some stuff in the works.
The haters will sabotage us, and also we have a history of not delivering on the plans we set. So don't set them. No disappointment. You can't be disappointed if you don't know.
Fair.
Know what I'm saying? So,
Fair.
like if we're like, dude, next episode Chris is gonna flip a Lamborghini, and then it ends up just being the Fiesta ST, you're like, oh, still cool. Like
I
you
get a
flipped
little
it.
Matchbox car and I go.
That'd be kind of funny, dude. Do all this marketing around like, yo, we're gonna fucking flip a Lamborghini,
And then it's gonna be. I can picture we set up all this stuff, and we're sitting in a boardroom conceptualizing all of this, and then someone rushes in and goes, boss, we spent all our money on advertising. What are we gonna do? We have nothing left for the actual production. Oh fuck.
Well, Jimmy, it's time to get creative.
I got $20 in my pocket. Figure it out.
And fucking Jimmy returns with a little matchbox. He's like, I have an idea. Get your macro lens immediately.
Perfect. I actually already have it installed.
Yeah.
Because I have an intense need to make small things look big.
Yeah, that happens. So you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, Pocket Cast, and the RSS feed, all linked below, as well as via email, synapsemisfire@pm.me. Send your comments, questions, concerns, death threats, and Little Kitty Bid City news updates and other shit. And Instagram and TikTok, contact us there. Or watch us there. Content's a little outdated, might I add.
A little bit.
Schmidge is a couple episodes behind.
A little bit.
Last TikTok we made is like, welcome to episode 4.
Yeah. Like last episode, or last TikTok we made, I think is in the old set.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is. It has to be. Maybe. Yeah. But anyway, Chris,
Jordan?
what's going on?
I helped a friend of ours move recently.
It wasn't me. Yeah.
It's not Jordan.
I'm not a friend of myself.
Jordan
either.
is moving, but another one of our friends.
And Chris refuses to help. He was like, absolutely not.
Yeah, no, I don't like Jordan, so...
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah. Actually, that's the big change. Is that friend that he moved is now
he's Jordan's replacement.
Yeah. Starting with 157. Yeah. But yes, you did help him move. I know who we are obviously talking about. And how'd that go? I know there was a little bit of an issue.
So I used the F-150 to move some stuff.
As you do.
And I keep forgetting the name of this. Like, what does that feature some vehicles have?
Lane departure assist.
Brakes.
Yeah, I haven't seen a car in probably like 10 years with that, but yeah.
Both the front brake calipers on the F-150 will stick. So
sounds like they're doing a good job braking.
They're perhaps doing too good of a job.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is, for the first leg of my journey, I had the windows open, there's no AC. I was going down some some main road in town because I wanted to be on the highway with this as little as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I had the windows open, and because it's a main road in a town, there's lights, stop lights, go lights, stop signs, go
slow
signs.
Down. Yep.
Right. So there's a part of this road where there's a slight incline for quite some time, and I'm just smelling brakes, and I'm in maybe 4th gear going up this very slight incline. My foot's on the floor and I'm slowing down, man, this sucks. So I'm in 2nd gear now, just chugging it up this hill, and all well, mind you, there's no exhaust whatsoever on this truck, so
yeah.
I'm in 2nd gear, just chugging it up this hill, going, it's like rattling my skull. And then once I got towards the highway, the calipers freed themselves, so the highway drive was fine. But then I got into the city because there's a portion of the highway that always, like, across the board, every single time I've driven on this particular section of highway, it just fucking sucks. Because it's right near, a large city. So people are trying to get there, right? And the way the road is constructed is the fucking worst. So, I had to deal with that. And this whole time, calipers unstuck, right? But I'm in traffic now. And I'm right next to a state trooper. State trooper pulls in front of me. So I'm just like, I'm trying to okay. I don't want to be really aggressive on my throttle here. Because I don't want to get pulled over, right?
Yeah.
Because when I start the truck and I start going, I'm just, and it's the loudest fucking thing imaginable.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, ever so slightly, I would let a bunch of room go, and I would go, just I would rev it just a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I actually got into the city and I do some driving in the city, and people in this particular city, they don't know fucking shit about how to operate motor vehicles, so that was tough.
Makes sense, yeah.
So I actually get to a friend's house, because I got a bunch of his shit in the back of my truck, and and he goes, "This whole truck smells like fire." I'm like, "Yeah," and I get out and there's smoke pouring out of the front wheels from the brakes, and I had this little bottle of water. And I splashed it on the front, fucking rims, and it just instantly fucking boils off.
Jesus Christ.
So yeah, we loaded stuff in his house. So what did I have? I had some dressers, and his bed frame, and his dad had, I think, more dressers, his mattress and box spring, and the mirror for one of the bureaus that I was carrying. I think I had a nightstand and stuff. So, we unload all that stuff, okay? And that was 45 minutes, just putting stuff in the house. And then I get out of the house, and we're almost finished unloading. And I put my hand near the wheels, and they are still I could feel the heat from 6 inches off. I'm like, okay, that's still bad, right?
Yeah.
But, it's around that time. We're going to lunch, right? It's around lunchtime, and that was my only ask. My only ask was I'll help you do this, but just buy me lunch. That's all I really asked for. So there's a really good burger place that we ended up going to, and we went there, and I did not take the truck. I rode with our friend, and
good
we
idea.
all got there, and we had food. It was pretty good, and our friend's dad, who was helping us, said, hey, we only need 2 vehicles to go get the rest of the stuff, because we had to go to a different town to his grandmother's house to get a bunch of stuff from there, and then go back. And I was like, that's good, because I don't have any front brakes. And we get back. It wasn't until after we got back from his grandmother's house, because we went straight there from lunch, that the rotors were actually cool.
Yeah.
And then I got home. I was driving home, and all was going well. And then I got off the highway at the earliest part possible. Off the highway, I'm on the main road. There's this particular section right after you get off the highway. Okay, you go, and there's a lane split, but there's a McDonald's there, and there's a Burger King and shit. And someone, probably 40 feet in front of me, pulls out from the McDonald's, and I had to slam on the brakes, and the calipers were locked the whole way home.
Oh. What the fuck?
Yeah. So.
That's an oof in the chat. That's a big oof.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. So I had some brake incidences, funny enough, around the same time. So I needed to do front brakes on the Yaris, and at the same time, my brother actually needed some help with his. So did the brakes on his car. That went fine. That was easy or whatever. Nothing, no issues there, no hiccups there. But I did the brakes on the Yaris, and driver's side, fine. Passenger side, I noticed the brakes are a little worn, kind of a little sus the way they're worn. I'm like,
Right.
that's not too good. I'm like, all right, let me check my slides. So first slide, I'm like, oh, you need some grease. So I pull it out, clean the hole, grease it, throw it in. Second slide, I'm like, ooh, that's really stuck. So I'm just thinking, like, put the fucking bracket in the vise, put a wrench on it, break it free, take it out, Dremel it, nice and clean, like I've done 100 other times.
Right.
So I put a socket on it. I start fucking pulling. I'm like, ooh, it's not moving. I'm like, all right, we're getting into torch territory here. So now we need to torch the thing to heat it up, to free it. I don't like doing that. So I'm like, hey, Dad, do this for me. So my dad busts out the torch, starts heating it up, starts trying to wrench it up. He's like, oh, man, yeah, it's really seized in there. And I'm like, yeah, I couldn't even fucking get it to squeak. Like, I don't know what we're going to do. He's heating it up. And then he just goes, man, it's taking a lot of heat to free this. He goes, this might break. He goes, I've never had one break. Keep in mind, he's 61 years old. He's been working on cars since he was 16. So quite a few years under his belt, quite a few disc brake jobs as well. And he's like, yeah, I've never seen one of these snap. Heats it up for like another 15 seconds, gives it a tug, shears the bolt right in half. And he just goes, oh, look at that. It broke. And like his face, he just goes, oh. He literally puts the wrench up. It's stuck in the wrench. And he just goes, oh, see, I told you. I was like, yep, fuck, saw that coming. Cool. So then he starts doing the typical him thing, which is like, hey, let's do all this stuff to like drill this out and put a bolt and do this and do that to get it working. I'm like, you know what, Dad? Like,
I could just get a new one.
I'm like, I don't want to fuck with brakes. Like, I don't. If this was like your exhaust, yeah, let's put screws through it. Let's do this. Let's do that. But like, it's kind of important to stop the car. So like,
apparently, yeah.
I was like, let me get the right part. I call around. No one's got it. No one's even open. No one can get it. It was just before 4th of July, so where it was on a Saturday. So 4th of July was on a Monday or Tuesday rather. No one can get it until the earliest Thursday. So I'm like, well, fuck. So I tell him, I'm like, yeah, the car's gonna have to stay in your driveway. Like I'm gonna get the part. So I ended up getting it through Amazon for Wednesday. So I'm like, all right, no big deal. Part comes in. I had a half day on Friday. So actually, I'm sorry, it showed up Friday because it showed up on my half day. Nope, sorry, confusing it for something else. Showed up Wednesday. It did show up Wednesday. Part 2 involves the fucking Friday. Shows up Wednesday. I get the bracket. I'm like, all right, cool. I go to my dad's house. I throw it on in like 15 minutes. Done.
Right.
Car's all good. This is when I did my brother's brake job as well. And then I fixed his AC line that was clogged, his drainage line or whatever. So that was super easy. Fits that. Done. He's good to go. My brakes are in place. I'm like, cool. Take the car. Drive it home. I'm like, all right, got the Yaris back. Let's go, baby. I bring it to work the next day, and I'm driving to work. No issues. Car's not doing anything funny. I'm vibing. Park the car at work. Text, let's say, hey, I'm at work. Hop out of the car, and I hop out, and I'm like, oh, I smell something burning. And we work, at a production facility, so I'm like, ooh, I wonder if something happened.
Fire.
I look to the right. I'm looking at the other production facility down the street, and it's pretty close by. I'm like, oh, maybe it's them because they make a bunch of different like materials and shit. I'm like, oh, maybe they're burning something. So I walk away from my car to the passenger side to grab my backpack, and the smell goes away. And I'm like, oh.
That's not good.
I'm like, so it's more contained to that area. That's weird. So I go back. I walk past my car to someone else's car, and I'm like, okay, the smell's also gone. I'm like, oh, fuck. So I'm thinking, like, all right, did my serpentine start slipping? Did my clutch start slipping? Yeah, I didn't fucking notice. Like, you should notice because the car's going to rev like crazy and do nothing. But maybe it did, and I just didn't notice. So I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, fuck, did I just burn the clutch? I walk over, and I'm like, oh, it smells. I'm like, and then it hits me. I'm like, oh, I just did brakes. Maybe it's something with the brakes, right? It's the last thing I touched. And I get like close to the driver's wheel, and I'm like, "Ooh, yeah, I smell it strong." So I kind of slowly reach my hand out, and like Chris said with his truck, I'm like 4 or 5 inches away. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I feel the heat."
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Let me go to the passenger side, ice cold." So I go to Chris's department, and they have a thermal imaging gun. So go out there, I take a reading of my passenger tire. I'm like, "Okay, 80.9 Celsius Fahrenheit." I'm like, "All right, cool." I go over to the driver's side at 232 Fahrenheit. And this is after sitting for like roughly 10 or 12 minutes by the time I went in, logged into my computer, and then went to go see Chris. So I'm like, okay. So either I fucked something up or my caliper seized. And I'm like, typically, if history were to hold true, the one time I fucked up brakes, it was a little more cataclysmic than this. So I'm like, I don't think I fucked anything up because this doesn't seem symptomatic with a fuck up. So I'm like, let me get the caliper. Like, it's got to be the caliper. So I ordered the caliper. I parked the car at home. I get the caliper. That came in on Friday. It was like basically overnighted to me. I'm like, all right, sweet. So I get that on Friday. I had a half day that Friday. So I'm already kind of like, oh, fuck. Because I had plans to just enjoy that half day. It was before my birthday.
Yeah, some plans to like relax.
Yeah, to relax basically. Like it was the weekend before my birthday. So I was like, oh, I'm going to take a half day then and the Monday off. So that way I just have a long weekend or whatever. So I was like, all right, that half day is now prone to fixing the car. So I get out at 12, 11:48, the fucking caliper shows up. I'm like, this is min, right? So I'm like, okay, I got to do this caliper, but to do this, I can't do it here. I got to go to my dad's because he has the tools. Okay, but no one's there until 5 p.m., and I can't do the caliper alone and then leave.
Bleed them, bro.
I gotta bleed them. So I came up with a way to bleed them myself, but I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm just not doing that. I was gonna pump the brakes and then fucking put something to hold it down and then bleed it and then repeat.
You can bleed them solo. It's just harder.
It's just harder, and
it sucks. I think you use more brake fluid doing it.
Technically, well, if you do it the way with the tool, yeah, you will, because you have to fill the reservoir on the tool.
Yeah.
Because I talked to Draft Man, I was like, hey, you're not by any chance like at the office with that tool by any chance like in your car? And he's like, no, I'm like,
you're not by any chance close by with a very specific tool that I need on your person, are you?
Because I've used it with him before when we did his clutch cylinder. So I'm like, hey, you don't by any chance have that? He's like, no, I'm home and it's here. And I'm like, I'm not gonna drive like 35 minutes to go get it. I'm just gonna wait. So I take what I did. I'm a bit of an innovator, right? So like I think outside the box, right? So I'm like, all right, my dad, about a 4-minute drive away. So what could I do that I can get there, put this together, and then get back home? I have a bicycle.
Okay.
So
this guy's a bit of a cyclist.
So I take my bike, put it in the trunk of the Yaris, put my tools that I need in there. I drive there. I go to work on the brakes. That was a pain in the fucking ass because the rotor was scorching hot. So I had a rag holding the rotor so it wouldn't fall while I was adjusting all this shit. But anyway, after like what should have been 15 minutes turned into like 25 because I was having problems with the brake line. But I got it in place, put everything together. I'm like, all right, I just need someone to bleed it. So I call my dad. I'm like, you're home at 5, right? He's like, yep. I'm like, cool. Pull the bike out of the trunk, ride the bike back home. And then I enjoy the rest of my day. I go back there, bleed it at night. He picks me up or whatever. And yeah, it's been good ever since.
Right.
So touching the brakes seemed to have shown the weaknesses in the caliper. But I do have to say, after driving the car, I realized that my engine braking is a little slower now. So I think that caliper may have just been like just
a little
barely sticking, and the brakes were so low that it wasn't noticeable. And then now I had thick, meaty pads, and that shit was rubbing. So
I see.
So yeah, the Yaris went through some fucking TLC. It's a funny world to live in though with that car, where it's like, this is like a basic maintenance item, but like it's a high percentage of the value of the car. Like between the brake job I did and the caliper, I spent $150 on a car that I paid $700 for.
It's my dad's rationale for not fixing the brake calipers on the F-150.
But like you got to drive it, like
yeah,
it's either that or scrap it.
See, that's the thing. That's my thought on the matter too. You got to drive it. So I'm seriously contemplating just fixing it for him.
Yeah, it's super easy.
I'll just pay for it. It's $150 or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not that bad. You can just get the fucking economy ones on Rock Auto for probably $50 with maybe a core charge.
And then I'll get some like exhaust tape to fix up that
to just
exhaust leak or something, or I'll get a section of pipe and just
fucking clamp her down. That's what I'm gonna do with the Cobalt at some point.
I'm not looking for like a expert patch job here. I'm looking for something that's cheap and good enough.
Yeah. You know what I do have to do though? I'll have to show you when I leave or whatever. I have to do 2 things to the Cobalt. There are 2 things that are kind of fucky. I gotta fix my hood release because I need someone to pull up on the hood as I hit the lever or whatever. So I have to fix that. But the other thing is I have to do brake fluid like yesterday. Not only is my pedal very low,
right,
but that shit is black tar inside the master cylinder. So I gotta get the cylinder out.
Right.
I gotta fucking flush her bitch, and then I gotta bleed those lines because it's rough. And like when we did the clutch cylinder for Giraffe Man, when we were working on that together, he pulls it out. And it was literally, it wasn't quite black tar. It was like green in his. And he just goes, and I just remember his face scooping this out like it was like some sort of fucking frozen yogurt. And he goes, oh, God, I should have done this a long time ago. And then he put a whole new cylinder because of it. He was like, yeah, just new cylinder. Like, yeah, so I definitely gotta get on that. But it's just a pain in the ass enough that I'm like if it was just brakes, I can get that done in 30 minutes. That's just easy. But like the fact that I have to take the cylinder out, either clean it or replace it, which I'm probably just going to replace it because it's like $35, and I can just put a whole new cylinder versus trying to flush this dumb thing, and then with my luck, I'll get some sort of fucking water in there, and it won't come out, and then I'll have some sort of issue with it. So I'm like, I might just get a new cylinder for like $35, and then put that in, and then I have to bleed the lines and keep the fluid topped off, and it comes down to I need people to help me with it, and I need, to keep it topped off. Because the last thing you want to do is like, all right, we're bleeding the brakes. Oh, and we ran out of fluid and just sucked in a gazillion fucking PSI of air. Like, this is great. Yeah. So now you're doing the whole process over, if not worse. Like, just pain in the ass. So I definitely got to get that done, though. My pedal is low. Especially driving the Yaris now with such a high pedal. Like, whew, it's pretty bad.
Nice.
So, and no ABS. Like, that car is barely stopping. Like.
That car's like, I'll stop in 3 to 5 business days.
Yeah.
If you're lucky.
Perhaps. But, yeah, I got to do that. All the other fluids are good, though. But, yeah, the Yaris does a squeak that I got to look at. It just does this sort of squeak.
There's a little squeak.
So most times when I'm just sitting idling, it bogs down and almost stalls. I think you've heard it in the parking lot. And, like, when it does that, it just does this really squeaky squeak or whatever. It's like fucking SpongeBob with the boots. It's literally like, yeah, it's weird. I got to see what that is just out of curiosity. But I'm wondering if it's some sort of loose pulley or something.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm tweaking. If I'm having like a schizophrenic episode or something. Or if my brakes are squeaking now.
Were they done recently, or I thought you had them done when the wheel
I had
fell
them
off.
done like 20. I had them done at like 25K because they were fucking destroyed at 25K. And I have
because the fucking torque vectoring.
I have like 40 now, so logic would only say that like they're probably on their fucking way out again.
Can you turn off the torque vectoring? You can't, right?
No, I wouldn't, even if I could.
No? Well, I guess it depends how you drive.
Even with this torque vectoring on, if I stomp on the throttle, this thing's like fucking impossible to control.
Yeah.
You have to drive the Fiesta ST. Maybe I just got weak beta male arms or something.
Yeah.
But to drive the Fiesta ST is to constantly corral the nose of the car vaguely where you want it to go.
Yeah.
So, I'm getting frustrated, really, with this car.
Yeah.
And I just can't come up with any like viable alternatives.
Yeah. Actually, it was a good joke.
Because the only options I have, are all dog ass. Like I can get, I could get a Focus ST, same issue. Same set of issues.
Why don't you get like a Civic Si or a WRX?
I could get a Civic Si. Probably can't afford one. I could get a WRX. Probably can't afford one.
Get a fucking Yaris.
My only other options for something comparable is like a Veloster. I'm not going to own another Hyundai. Because that introduces the same problem.
Yeah, where it's dog ass.
Yeah. I guess I could get like a Golf GTI, but then I have to deal with all the quirks that are involved in a Volkswagen.
That is true.
But from my understanding, those are fairly reliable.
Yeah.
I'd have to look into it. But
you could also do that thing we talked about. You could get like a 5-speed Corolla.
That's another thing I was thinking about, getting like a Corolla hatchback and just getting one with a, I think they have...
it's a 6-speed.
I think it's a 6-speed.
I think it's 6. I was going to say 6, but then I went with 5.
And just calling that good enough.
Yeah, until you get what you want, which is the GR Corolla.
I get a GR Corolla.
Which I think is what I've changed my mind to, unless the Honda comes out with a hatchback SI. Because my only option now to get a hatchback manual Honda is the Sport Touring model. I don't want that. I want the SI. So I might go GR Corolla when the time comes. And also, like, there's also just the fact that it's all-wheel drive and 300 horse as opposed to 200. So.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I don't know why, Chris. The thing that sticks with me is I really just want to say, yeah, my car's 3 cylinders. I just think that's funny.
You just think
I
it's funny.
I think it's funny as fuck.
If I had a little more leeway in terms of like options, or like availability rather, I would consider like a Honda Fit.
Yeah, that's what I almost got instead of the RS. That's what I was looking at.
It's a huge downgrade in power, but it still has the same feel as like a Fiesta ST, and I think would have me significantly less anxious driving.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I'll have to think about it because like I am reaching a point where I'm like, this is frustrating and anxiety inducing to drive.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a fine car if you want to keep up with all these little maintenance items that fail way quicker than they should.
Yeah. I think torque vectoring is the big one for those brakes, though.
But I'm not that guy.
I'm the guy, pal.
And I've heard a lot of mixed things about the EcoBoost engine that's in there. So, because they have a billion different EcoBoosts, because they have the one in the Mustang that's also in the Focus RS. And then they have the EcoBoost that I think they put in the F-150, the V6. And then there's the EcoBoost that they put in the Focus ST, which is a 2-liter. And they have the EcoBoost that they put in the Fiesta ST, which is a 1.6.
Right.
But I've heard mixed things about that particular 1.6 EcoBoost engine. I've heard, there's been no major reliability issues that have come up. And then I've also heard, yeah, mine exploded at 10,000 miles.
Yeah.
I've heard so many mixed things. And I'm like, I just want something that works.
Yeah, I could see why that would be frustrating.
So...
Yeah, I see. With me, it's kind of like the brakes and stuff like that. Like that wouldn't piss me off. It's more the diverter and the fucking other just random shit that has happened. Like I don't know, and just little things too. Like you got to do your air filter, torque bits. Like just those little things are what would irk me. The brakes and stuff, like I wouldn't be too mad about. Even though 15K, if they are actually squeaking, it's kind of dog shit. But I guess it all depends.
Because that's the thing, right? Is like, here's the other thing. Is how can I be like, hey, I had a 2019, because I'm thinking what if I just bought something like older, just outright, something for like $8 or $9 grand. That's what you should do.
If your goal is a GR Corolla, I wouldn't finance another nice car because.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, because I can make out with more money if I sold it back to CarMax
and paid back or sold it back to them. Yeah. So that's true.
I'm in this weird spot where I have to explain to people like, yeah, I had a brand new Hyundai and then I had a Fiesta ST of the same year, but now I just have a 2010 Corolla or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a little weird to explain, and it's kind of just tough because I just want a method of transportation that isn't consistently shit
and is somewhat enjoyable
and is also a little more enjoyable. And I also don't have a lot of money, so
yeah. It's a tricky place to be in. Yeah, I agree, because like that's partially part of the reason of me wanting to move back too. Is like if both the cars broke right now, which the Yaris could go any fucking day. Like it's a Toyota, but it still has 240,000 miles on it. And especially with my dumb ass driving it, could go any fucking day. The Cobalt, it's a Chevy, it seems fine, but it's a Chevy. So those could go any day. And it's like, if I have to buy a car, like I don't want to be like, all right, let me buy this car for 8 to 10K, and then be like, well, that's going to take me a full year to save. Like, that's part of it. Is like I want kind of that security of like, I don't. My pride gets in the way of wanting to move back with my mom, but like, if the car blows up and I go buy a fucking 2018 something, whatever, fucking Nissan Versa or some dumb shit like that, like whatever it is, go buy something that's gonna be at least a good daily driver and good on gas. And like honestly, I'm telling you now, between the Cobalt and the Yaris, if both of them broke, I would probably go buy a Yaris. Not the exact same one, but I'd probably buy like a 2012 Yaris. because the car is fine to drive, fucking phenomenal on gas. Like, I'd probably try to get it manual. If not, so be it. Like, it's just a great car. I don't know. It's nice enough. So
Yeah.
I'd probably just do that, or even a Corolla. As much as I'm like about Corollas, except for like the GR Corolla, it's a great fucking car, you know. So, or even I'd maybe think of like a Civic Sport, but I don't know. Or actually, I saw they have an Accord model that is manual as well, which I had seen one anyway. I don't know if it is new. I don't know. I saw some guy talking about an Accord that was manual. I was like, oh.
I don't think they made them manual anymore.
Maybe it was an old one
I
or
think
something.
they had them for a while. I'm no Honda wonk.
Yeah, we gotta get Giraffe Man. This would be the perfect time to call him in. Hey, Giraffe Man. He'd be like, from 2012, December 5th. Like,
yeah, I think they made them for a while, but I don't think they make them anymore.
Yeah, it might have been like an older one he was driving. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. Oh, no. Yes, 100% they made them. Because when I was looking into getting a manual car, our boss was supposed to take me to the same town that you moved our friend to look at or actually it might have been farther than that, to look at his exact car. He has a 2005 Accord. It was to look at a 2005 Accord coupe manual.
Right.
That's exactly where we were supposed to go. And then, dude, that would have been such a killer deal. It had some minor cosmetic issues. I mean, look at the fucking Yaris. It had some minor cosmetic issues, like just like the clear coat peeling, like maybe a little bit of rocker panel rust. It had like, I think 180,000 miles, and it was his exact car or whatever, the 2005 Accord, same trim, just coupe and manual, and they wanted like $2,000 for it. I was like, fuck. I called the guy, and then he was like, oh, I just sold it yesterday. I'm like, bro.
Fuck you.
Fuck. So, but it all worked out because I ended up with the Yaris, and believe it or not, $700. We'll say $850. We'll say $900 between registering it and doing the work I've done. And it's already made it a year, the Yaris, so it's going into its year.
Right.
So that's not a bad $900 investment thus far, knock on wood. So, yeah, I don't know. That's like I said, that's kind of the position I'm in where, like, I don't ever want to be in the same position I was in with the Cobalt, because the Cobalt, my hand was forced. I did not want that car at all. I said no to it, and I had no other option, so I had to buy it. And it's been fine. It's good enough. I've done little things here and there. It's fine. It is certainly a car. It is certainly a thing that drives and gets me from point A to point B.
Certainly a vehicle.
Is it fun? Not really. Is it reliable? It seems so, but I don't know. Is it annoying as fuck at times? Yes. Does it have severe transmission lag? Yes. Like, all that shit that's annoying about every fucking American car I've ever owned, it has. Does it have the wonkiest interior ever where the fucking dash is peeling? Yes, for some reason. But it's a car. But with that car, literally, the Explorer was like, all right, transmission, let's see, second gear, and I'm gone. All right, no second gear. So I was like, all right, I need a car. And that one popped up for way over the fucking value that it was at the time. It was Letsy's, what is she, her cousin? Her cousin's car. And they wanted more money because they had just done all this work to it. And I was like, I don't really care what work you did, but that's fine. And literally, there was just, it was like every other car that was way better was $5,000, and any other car that was under what I paid for this, which was $3,300 when it was valued at like $1,600, was like $1,600, but they were like 2001 Jeep Liberties like yours was, like shit like that. And I'm like, I'm not buying one of those. This was this was officially the newest car I had ever owned. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. And it drove, when I test drove it, it drove great compared to the Explorer. I was like, this is nice. Like, you know, I'd never driven a car before. I've always had driven trucks and SUVs. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. And yeah, I had to buy it for that price. Like, it is what it was. But looking back, you know, perhaps if I was saving in high school and not just buying a lot of VR shit and cell phones, I could have went and said, oh, fuck it, I'll get an Elantra or whatever, like you guys did when we got out of high school, you and Alex.
I got an accent.
Or accent, rather, yeah. Oh, let's go with the Elantra, because he's a beta male.
Of course.
So, but yeah, like, as much as his car is shit, in the sense, in quotations, that, like, it sucks and it's boring, I mean, it seems pretty good. It drives, it works, gets good gas, like, you know. Wouldn't have been a bad investment, considering he's had it since high school. And
right.
I've gone through 2 cars. So, well, technically 1, essentially, but I've owned 2 since high school because of it.
Yeah.
And Chris is like, yeah, don't even get me started about quantities of cars, dude.
I own like 87 cars.
Fuck GR 86. It's more like I own 86. Like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, so, you know.
Yeah, that's
just
kind kind of the spot that I'm in where
Yeah. It's tough.
the thing I just explained, like, but there's also, you know, if I get everything that I want, like in one vehicle, all these features that I would want, I can't afford it. And if I look at stuff I can afford, it's shit-ass shit, or nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I think like the Honda Fit or the Corolla, like base Corolla or whatever, are probably your best bet. I wouldn't go with another Ford, and I definitely wouldn't go with another Chevy.
Because, like,
Chevy.
Yeah, I just don't want to fucking do all this work to get this Honda Fit and then drive it and be like, man, this thing fucking sucks.
That is true. That very well could happen. That is definitely true. Because, like, that's the thing about the Yaris is, like, I feel like if I went from, like, your Fiesta, right, for example, to the Yaris, I'd be like, oh, this thing sucks. But because I've never driven anything but Draft Man's Miata for, like, in a fucking cul-de-sac, I never actually took it on the road because I sucked, to a Yaris, I'm like, yeah, this is fine. This is fun. But then, like, once I get, like, a GR Corolla or whatever I want someday, I'm not going to want to go back to a Yaris unless it's, like, a GR Yaris, right, if they bring that to the States. So I could see why going from essentially what is, like, a entry-level, it'd be, like, classified what, like, entry-level sports car, kind of?
I would
It's a hot hatch, ultimately.
Yeah, I would say it hot hatch to, like, an extreme degree.
Yeah.
That's one of the two, like, balls to the wall hot hatches that exists in the United States.
So to go from that to
There's a
hatch.
third.
What's the third?
Because there's a GR Corolla, there's the Focus RS, and there's the Golf R.
Oh, so there's 4 with the Fiesta. I got you.
So
4 total.
no, I mean like top tier.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Hot hatches.
Yeah.
So like that's like 300 plus horsepower, all-wheel drive.
Yeah. All the works. Like,
Yeah,
you went to Five Guys, you said all the works,
Yeah, you
bro.
get the whole wash and set. You get the whole thing.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. But yeah, so like to go from that to just a hatch that has a stick in it. I mean, you could always, I found Spider Knob improved the experience.
Yeah, maybe.
So maybe that's what you need.
Or I do the Honda owner thing and get obscene amounts of modifications.
Or that. Although, Draftman's one piece of advice to me always, and I think to you, was don't ever mod a daily driver like that.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah,
about that.
Because when I wanted to mod the Cobalt at one point with a bunch of different stuff, he was like, just don't do it. Not just because it's a dumb financial investment, but also, like, if this is your only car, like, don't do that. Don't start modding it.
Yeah, I was going to start putting mods on, like, the Fiesta. But then I was like, I don't know, like, how much longer I even want to keep this car, number one. And number two, I'm going to do these mods on it, and I'm going to compromise NVH, noise, vibration, harshness, which is already fucking terrible.
Especially with the AC on.
Jesus fucking Christ, yeah. I will turn on my car, okay? I will turn on my car now, all right? Because I always park it in gear. So I take it out of gear, put it in neutral. I let out my clutch and the fucking engine bogs. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Can this thing just exist for 10 seconds?
Even the Yaris doesn't bog. Well, I don't have a tad. Maybe it bogs a little, but...
The engine starts bogging, and it has the fucking, again, the same Fiesta ST issue that exists for everyone, apparently, where when you fill it up with gas, the engine starts choking itself to death.
Yeah. Is that noise you were showing me, the clicking, was it?
No, that clicking's the AC thing.
Oh, no, not the... I thought you showed me something else. You heard in the front end.
There was something else I heard in the front end that went away when I started putting premium in the car.
That's what it was. You were telling me about it.
There was like some pinging or like some sort of ticking or something.
That's what I was thinking.
And that's another reason where I'm like, okay, the manual says to put 87 in it. I put 87 in it
and
for
ticked.
like a year, and it started making a bunch of noise. I started putting 93 in there, and it stopped making noise. So if I was supposed to put fucking 93 in there in the first place, why didn't you put that in the manual? Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, there's no number two. Why wasn't it in the fucking manual?
I wonder if you have the same thing my dad's truck has. I'm just thinking because it's a Ford. Maybe it's...
Where it's shit?
Maybe it's something... Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. He has a Chevy now, actually, but still. They have the fucking pins that go on the pistons, and they're worn, so his does that. Like, and then it will stop, and then it will stop, and it's just the pins rattling.
I don't know.
Could be some dumb shit like that. But yeah, that's what it was. You had told me about it. I didn't hear it myself. You told me about it. So you had something else where it wasn't pulling in enough air?
So what happens is this. There's something in the evap system.
Of course, it's always the fucking evap
that
system.
starts to break. And when it fully breaks, you get a check engine light. But what happens is this, where when it starts to break, or sometimes this is just normal operation, because fuck if I know. When you put gas in the car,
like fill it to the top, essentially.
Like you would I'm not doing the whole meme where some guys will like fill it until it clicks, and then they'll wait 30 seconds and then fill it more. No, I just fill it until it clicks, like a normal person.
And then put the shit away. Yeah.
And I just put the shit away and I close it because there's no fucking gas cap, which has always annoyed me. Number one. We're on number 87 now by now.
Yeah.
Which has always fucking annoyed me. Okay? And I put the gas pump away, I'm driving away, and I get to the light, because I go to the same gas station every time. I pull out of the gas station, I get to the light, and I go... and the fucking engine starts trying to kill itself.
What the fuck? So what is happening exactly? What part's breaking? You know?
This, something to do with the evap system. So it's like
vapors are getting stuck or something.
I don't fucking know what's actually logistically happening.
That's so fucking stupid.
What I do know is that my engine almost stalls every time I get gas.
Yeah. And you're not even in gear at that point. You're just clutch in sitting.
Yeah, at a light.
What the
fuck? What I do sometimes is if I'm at the light for a little bit, I'll put it in neutral and I'll just like, all right, and then it'll do it and I'll just slam on the gas. No. Like, you know what? You're not fucking doing this today. Yeah. Not on my watch, motherfucker. That's not gonna happen.
That's fucking asinine.
So Honda Fit Arc, maybe?
Honda Fit Arc, dude, yeah.
I'm in my Honda Fit
What
era.
you should do is you should get a matching 2007 Yaris. That'd be funny.
I'm going to get, right, it's July 15th currently, right?
12:43 p.m.
Right. December 15th. I'm going to have, done and dusted. I bought this Honda Fit. I've had it for like a month. I fucking hate this thing.
Yeah. Could you imagine, right? You're like, fuck it, I'm going to suck it up. You sell the car, you get the Honda Fit. You're like, all right, this sucks, but the goal is GR Corolla. The goal is GR Corolla. It's GR Corolla. And then you finally get one, and you go, this fucking sucks somehow. Or you're the only person in history that buys a Corolla and has issues with it day one somehow. Like, that'd be crazy.
Well, especially because my plan is to wait a little bit and see if hopefully I can get one used.
Right.
For less
money. Like lightly used, yeah.
Yeah. Like if I can get one from this year in
2 years or something.
Yeah, in like 2 or 3 years. And I can get like one that's being made new today. That's probably fine.
Yeah. Get it with like 50K on it or something. It's not bad.
Yeah, but I have this sense that this is one of those ones that immediately is going to fucking... It's an appreciating asset.
Probably.
Which is the opposite of what cars do. Are supposed to do, at least.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be
exponentially depreciating.
This is how it's supposed to work, people. Listen.
Biden. You specifically listen.
Joe Biden, you made this happen,
Jebiden.
apparently. He made an executive order. He said the GR Corolla specifically will appreciate in value, unlike other cars.
Yeah.
And he signed it into law. That was his first thing as president. January 21st, 2021. That's what he did.
Yeah. I don't even think the GR Corolla was announced to them.
It wasn't. I think it might have been announced. I don't think it was out.
Revealed, yeah.
It wasn't out or revealed or anything. But this is how it's supposed to work, okay? You buy the car, brand new, for a brand new car price. You drive it off the lot, it's immediately worth like fucking half of what you paid for it.
Yeah.
Right? And then over the next 10 years, it slowly depreciates in value to about, a couple of grand.
Yeah, maybe $3,000 to $5,000 depending on the car type.
If it's a specific sort of vehicle, everyone remembers that it existed and then it shoots way the fuck up in price. Like 15 years ago, you could get a fucking Mark IV Supra Turbo for like 10 grand.
Yeah.
And now they're like 200.
Yeah.
So I feel bad for all those guys who probably had one and were like, it's not worth too much. I'm just gonna dump it on the market.
It's been sitting around. Yeah.
Yeah, like I've just had it for a while. And then they look at fucking Bring a Trailer and they just go, holy shit!
Yeah.
And it's their car with way more mods and fucking miles.
That's how I feel about the Cobalt SS. It's like, oh yeah, this car sold. It was like whatever, 25K, 30K. You know, it very quickly depreciated to like 10K. But if you want one now with like less than 100,000 miles on it, it's going to be about 25,000.
Yeah. But point being, the GR Corolla and many other vehicles like it are being sold brand new today and then being sold for double the price tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, I saw a used GR Corolla on Facebook Marketplace for like 65 grand. Like, I bought it MSRP. It had 300 miles on it. And then he sold it on Facebook Marketplace for 65.
That's crazy.
And someone bought it.
That's fucking insane. They got to start doing like the PlayStation waitlist on this shit.
For real. They got to start like... They gotta have like... They got to put in place like a mandatory depreciation on vehicles. Or they got to put in place like a... Hey, dealerships, you have to sell this at this price legally.
Or at least this range. Like maybe like no more than a 3% markup or something.
Like you get a couple of bucks of wiggle room, but like cut it the fuck out. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no reason that like a base model brand new, like a base model F-150 is like fucking 55 grand. There's no reason for that.
No. For a garbage ass model, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the big problem, yeah. It's like, logically speaking, unless someone buys this car and then does all this work to it or mods it or whatever, it inherently is depreciating in terms of its actual value. Like, non-monetary, like, the actual usability of this car depreciates every single time it is used. So...
Yep.
Therefore, the value of the car should depreciate. You drove it off the lot and hit a single pothole, you have just depreciated the value of the car.
You know what I think? You know what I kind of wish that I was in the zeitgeist for, like right when it bottomed out, when I was in the meta for, was the Toyota FJ Cruiser.
I don't think I've seen that. No, oh, is that the very square one?
Yeah, it's very square,
yeah.
SUV.
Yeah.
And it's got 3 wiper blades because the windshield's so big.
Yeah.
Those are really cool.
That would be kind of sick.
And you can get them with basically, I think, the same drivetrain as the Tacoma, like V6, 6-speed manual, 4-wheel drive.
That's not bad at all.
With manual transfer case, I believe. So you don't have to hit a button and just pray that it's actually working. You ka-tunk, and you know it's fucking working.
Yeah.
There was a time where those were like kind of depreciating in value, and they were worth like, they weren't worth nothing, but they weren't worth like nearly what they were. Yeah. And now they're like the same price as when they were new. Yeah. As last time I checked, which was a long time ago, a couple of years ago. So maybe they've come down. Maybe that'll be the next move. FJ Cruiser.
It'd be kind of cool.
If I find one I can afford that I am happy with the condition of, which is unlikely.
Yeah.
I will buy it. I think that would be really fun.
That would be pretty cool.
But it's got to be stick shift.
And decent condition.
Yeah, stick shift, decent condition, something I can afford.
You can have 2 of these things, but not 1. Not 3, I mean.
Yeah.
So it can be decent condition, stitch shift, but it's not going to be affordable. It can be stitch shift and unaffordable, but shit condition.
Yeah.
And then it can just be decent condition, affordable, but automatic.
That's the case with most vehicles. It's like, oh, this is great condition. It's affordable. Automatic only. Guess what, fucker? Because of the general American public being lazy, drooling slobs, they can't
want to eat their McDonald's.
They can't fucking drive stick shift like 95% of the other countries on this planet, which are, 60 to 80% of the cars are stick shift. Like, apparently we fucking idiot, dumbass Americans can't figure it out. So We're too busy. How am I supposed to shift if I got a fucking Big Mac in my hand?
And my phone in the other, like, yeah.
I have my Big Mac in one hand, my phone in the other. I'm steering with my knees.
Got my Steam Deck with my toes.
I'm fiddling my Steam Deck with my toes.
And God forbid if the car doesn't brake for me, I'm gonna hit everything in sight.
Yeah, and if I don't have collision detection that works perfectly and self-driving that works perfectly, I can't operate a motor vehicle. I think that's why we're so shit at driving. Like, we're one of the worst we have some of the worst performing drivers in the world.
Yeah.
Like, American streets are some of the most dangerous to drive on. Mm. And I think that's part of why. Because if you don't have any hand in the operation of the vehicle that you're piloting, you're not going to fucking know how to operate it. Like, if I don't know dick about fuck and the car just does everything for me, why do I have to pay attention, you know?
Yeah. Well, I've always said pretty much exactly that. Like, manual forces you to kind of pay attention because you don't want to stall. You don't want all these other things to happen. Like, you got to be a little more on top of it.
To be, like, optimal in terms of, like, downshifting and stopping and stuff. Because if I can avoid coming to a complete stop, I'm going to do that. Mm-hmm. So I'm, like, telegraphing light patterns. Like, okay, these guys are going now, and I'm this far off.
They've been going for about 5 seconds. I'm about 150 feet away.
That by the time I get to this light, I can be slow enough to bump it into second, the light will turn, and I can just go.
Yeah. Do that. I do that shit all the time, especially the hill over here near the ice cream place. Yeah. I do that at that hill all the time.
Like,
I'll be, like, cruising in third.
It forces you to pay attention and be engaged with your driving.
Yeah. I've said it for a long time, though. I feel like cars should mandatorily have Faraday cages around the driver. No cell service in and out.
Fair.
Like, there should be a Faraday cage. Obviously, you need it in the event of emergency for certain things, but, like, honestly, like, I think it'd be a better trade-off. I think you'd have less emergencies if there was a fucking Faraday cage around every goddamn car.
I think there should be a legal thing where it's like, if the phone detects that you're moving over a certain speed, it will not turn on.
Yeah.
Like, it will, like, you can hit the button no matter how much you want to, and it's always just going to look like this. Yeah. So the display's just going to be off.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they already do shit like that for, like, Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go will close, like, not close the app, but it'll lock you out of the app if you're, like, going too fast in some cases, or at least it used to. So, like, the phone knows. Like, we all know the phone knows. The accelerometer's always fucking listening, waiting, seeing how fast you're going. Like,
yeah. Because there's a lot of people. Apparently, this is more common than I thought, of people just using their phone while driving.
I don't even know how, bro. Like, I can't do both.
I can't do both. Clearly, I can't do both.
Like, yesterday, went to pick up Dunkin' Donuts for D&D. Went down by our work, that industrial area. No cars there. I was trying to, like, just cruise in second and hit fucking order on the app because I had the order preloaded, but I was too far away. Trying to hit order, and I'm like, I don't see. I'm on this road, totally alone, giant wide road in a tiny little Yaris. Literally would be next to impossible to hit anything, but I would look down to hit the button and be like,
because, like, I've managed to use my phone while driving a few, like, it's very, very rare that I'll even do it. And one of the fucking times I did it, I crashed.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
One of the fucking times I did it, I looked at my phone and I crashed.
So I meant to say this earlier. Bud Light Boy fucking did a little jab to you the other day about that. Yeah. Not to you, but about that to me and Booms. We were talking about the Yaris, and Booms was like, oh, I'm not going to get in the Yaris. It's fucking shit. And I was like, well, it's in better condition than some cars. He goes, well, that's true. And Bud Light Boy goes, yeah, it's true. It's in better condition than Chris's Prius.
Fair.
And we were laughing about that or whatever.
That's
so I was like,
fair.
Yeah. And then we were thinking about the scenario. I need you to clarify something for me that we were thinking about.
Okay.
So I know the story was you were looking at maps, right?
Right.
On an on-ramp?
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, what did you need the map for? You were only going one direction.
Well, I was in an unfamiliar area and I had to go. Yes, I was going one direction, but I needed to know when I was leaving.
You weren't even in the highway yet, though.
I couldn't just... Listen, I can't just fucking... I can't just telepathically know when I'm getting off the highway.
You couldn't wait till you were on the highway to check?
I crash at 40 miles an hour. I crash at 80. Those are my options.
I don't think you would have crashed it. There's usually more space on the highway because the lady stopped, right? Or she like really slowed down. That's what caused it. Yeah. So I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, because I've done that with my car before with the fucking display. I've like been going on the on-ramp and I've looked at it to be like, oh, what exit am I on? And I always go, why am I doing that? I'm not even on the highway. Why do I care what exit I'm taking? Just get on first. Because I've almost made that same fucking mistake where I'll look up and I'm like, oh, I'm actually like getting close to this person. Let me slow down because they're like, oh no, cars.
Listen, we
God
can
forbid they
relitigate
merge.
the past all we want. It's not going to change anything. Point being,
Actually, Chris, it is. There's a new Prius outside that I bought you today.
I'll crash that one too.
You're like, yes.
Point being, you know how I am.
I'm a bit of a.
I am not good with directions, and I get very paranoid if I don't know where I'm going.
I could see it, and I do know how you are because we joked about that on at the way to that park with.
Because I said, because this has come up a few times where I've had people navigate for me, and then I would do something wrong, and then I would blame it on that person navigating because I'm an asshole. I know, I understand it's my fault.
Yeah.
But like, and then something happened somewhat recently, at a different event, and Jordan was like, and after I actually got to where I was going, Jordan was like, hey, remember last time when Alex was navigator, and then
I was navigator at one point.
and then he fucked it up apparently. And then I was navigator, and then apparently I fucked it up.
All to the same location.
I think we found the common denominator here. And I'm like, oh, yeah, no, this is 100% my fault.
Yeah, because when he drove past us, basically we were in like a park, and he just like drove right by. We saw you going right by us because it's a big open road, and we were just like,
that part was different because I listened to you the wrong way.
Oh, okay. When did I say the other thing then? I thought that was there. Was it there?
No, that was when we got food after work.
Oh, yeah. Yes. When we went to that burger place.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. That's where it was. Okay. So we also fucked up the listening to me there, too, at the park.
Yeah. Well,
you just heard it wrong. You thought I was talking down to up, right?
There was a parking area that's like 2 levels. There's like a lower level and an upper level.
Yeah,
right?
It goes into a Y.
Exactly. And it's like the first parking lot you see in this park.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a huge park.
Massive.
And I'm driving in, and I get a call from Jordan. He's telling me where he parked. And I'm like, okay, easy. And he goes, I think you said I'm on the top level or I'm on the second level, I forget. Mm-hmm. And my brain went, bottom. So I looked, and I'm looking at the bottom level, and I'm like, I don't fucking see anyone's car over there. Yeah. Like anyone that I know. I don't see any of that. So I just kept going. And then I called you again because I was like, I think I got another call from someone else that was there.
It was from the engineer
like,
guy.
Oh yeah, you passed us. I'm like, yeah, I think I did. But, it's one big loop, so.
You just bang a loop, yeah.
Imagine if I missed it again. I would have just left.
We said that, so how we knew you missed it was because we could see you. We watched a little Fiesta just go by way in the distance, and I said, I think that's the Fiesta.
I already wasn't too hot about leaving, about going out that day anyway.
Yeah.
I would have just left.
You were too hot. That was the problem. It was hot as fuck.
Left.
But, so he does the turn, and as you were coming back around, like right around there, I said to the engineer, I was like, and to the other guys, I was like, man, could you imagine if he just drove by again? And then we were like, I'm pretty sure he would just fucking fly off into the water. He would just cut it and go right off into the water.
Yeah.
So that was our prediction, but then you didn't obviously end up missing it. So.
Yeah, because I think part of the thing with going back in our conversation, I think part of the thing here is I'm not nearly as put together of a person as I portray myself to be. I get really paranoid and really anxious about shit that does not matter.
Yeah.
Like if I don't have my directions up and I don't know where I'm going, I would start freaking the fuck out.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going, and I'm getting scared and lost and kind of angry.
I'm never gonna get home again.
I become like a cornered animal anytime I'm in any unfamiliar situation. So like,
I can see it. I could get it from that perspective.
I'm like, listen, if I don't know exactly where I'm going to the fucking nanometer, I'm gonna have a panic attack.
Yeah, see, I could see that. Like that's how some people are. For me, I tend to in my elder years, I tend to like more of the, not so much for like that example because that's a local place we know, but like if we're going to Vermont, right, and like we're on these fucking back roads, like I don't mind getting lost a little. I'll kind of explore, and then I'll be like, all right, we need to figure out where the fuck we're going if we don't figure it out. But I could see that. I could see why if you have a destination in mind and then like you're in the middle of fucking nowhere, like yeah, that could be a little paranoia inducing. I mean, kind of like a Monterey. Like if the GPS cut out on the way to Monterey, I would have been like, oh fuck. Chris would have just swerved us off the road.
Especially because we were in the dark.
In the dark, in the woods, basically, in the boonies, brother.
Like
the back roads.
The thing that was comforting to me was the fact that no one fucking else was on the road.
Yeah.
The thing that was not comforting to me was the fact I was on the lookout for deer, and then there was this big fucking like moose thing.
That was definitely a taxidermy moose.
Which was not, it was not a real moose. I want to be clear. It was like a fucking moose statue or a taxidermy or something, and it scared the fucking shit out of me. And then thinking about another time, not when I was driving, but when I was riding in the Cobalt with you.
I knew that's what we were going for Halloween.
We did our Halloween thing, and we were leaving, and then we're on kind of some back roads, and Jordan starts speeding up a little bit, and I go, hey, watch out for deer. And like right when I said it, a fucking deer jumps out of the woods, and we almost fucking destroyed this thing.
Dude. Instantly, we're literally on this fucking massive long strip, and
I summoned this deer.
I think the speed limit there was like 35 or 40. I was on like 45, maybe creeping to 50. But then what really like saved us, besides you obviously saying like, hey, this fucking deer, was we hit the end of that straightaway and it curves. So I slowed down to maybe 35, and I took this curve left, and then I curved right. And right around as I was curving left, Chris was like, yeah, just keep an eye out for deer. As we curve right, this fucking thing just leaps, dude, like fucking Michael Jordan, just out of the woods, bro, right over the car, basically, like. And then I didn't even like really hit the brake. I kind of just hit it a little to like make sure the deer cleared us. And then I looked at Chris, and he looked at me and goes, "What the fuck?"
I was like, did I summon this thing? Dude. Was this a creation of me?
Dude, that was crazy. Yeah. And then, I was so heated, though, because my dash cam was going, and then we watched the footage, and it randomly glitched. Like, that thing was a fucking SCP. I'm sorry. It was.
It was a skinwalker.
Do you remember we watched it, and it, like, cut?
Yeah, literally, like, it didn't film that part.
It literally films me going on the curve, and then it cuts to 3 seconds later when we're going, holy fuck, did you see the deer? It was the weirdest fucking thing. And it was Halloween night.
Dude, I'm pretty sure that was a skinwalker, bro.
I think dude, I'm not a paranormal guy, but, like, if there's a night for you to summon something, my dash cam to randomly miss the clip of that thing directly in front of us, literally it glitches. It literally goes static, and then it goes right back to us driving going, holy shit, did you see that? It's Halloween night. That was Halloween night.
Like
that was midnight at Halloween, dude.
Like if I wasn't there.
You would never believe that.
If I wasn't there and you told me this story, I would not believe you.
Yeah, especially with it being Halloween night, right?
The only reason that we know that it's real is because
Chris fucking summoned it, and we both saw it.
Because we were both there.
Yeah, like literally Halloween night this happened. It was midnight on Halloween. We were coming back at like almost 1 a.m. So like, listen, if there's ever been a time in my life where I will say maybe there was a ghost or something, that might have been it.
I'm saying Skinwalker.
I would agree with Skinwalker because it definitely wasn't spectral. It was a physical mass.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think what's funny is for that short skit we did for Halloween, we talked about having like a lanky creature in the woods too. So maybe that was it. It was late for its interview.
Creature. Yeah. Did I miss the audition?
As we're wrapped around a tree. He's like, oh shit, I think I'm fired.
Like a GTA like NPC where your head's against the horn. Like, does this mean I don't get the job?
Oh, that's fucking funny. But yeah, that was something. That was a good night. That was a fun night of just content chicanery. Final product was about as mid as anything else we've ever done, but it was a good time.
Yeah, no, we suck at everything, I think.
All right, I think on that note, we're good. I think we should throw in the towel since it's a good note to end on. We suck at everything.
I feel like this is the angriest one we've done in a while.
Yeah, it has been pretty angry. But you have anything else? Any final remarks?
No.
All right, so contact us via email, synapsemisfire@pm.me, send questions, concerns, and death threats, and of course, little kitty shit. Send all that shit. And as always, you can find us Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, Pocket Cast, in the RSS feed, and Instagram and TikTok. I think I like that format better.
Yeah.
I think I do. Because I've always tried to toy around with it in my head of like, all right, we have platforms, and then places you can contact us, but Instagram and TikTok are a platform. So technically, we should do contact platforms. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I did that time. I liked it better. Flowed off the old tongue a little better.
I'll join us next Wednesday to find out our fate.
Yeah, I was just saying maybe we should have talked about it, but that's episode's gonna be a little different.
That's the next episode that we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little different next episode.
And don't worry, we're not going anywhere. We're not doing anything.
We can't afford to go anywhere. What do we look like?
Go anywhere or do anything? No, we're not. We're not going away. Is what I mean.
We are temporarily.
Perhaps
For at least 4 to 6 years.
4 to 6 business years, actually.
Yeah. No,
we'll
but
talk about it next time round.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, Jordan's gonna be killed. Actually, that's what's gonna happen.
You're killing me off. It's the arc.